In summer, we're getting longer and hotter days, but still nice and cool at night. So we still got plenty of cool days and lots of rain. So this is a really nice time for gardening because you're getting lots of that day length and light, which the plants love, but also lots of that rain too. So everything's growing like crazy here at the urban farm. There's so many different things to see, to smell, to feel. So we're just gonna take a quick walk around and look at some of those plants. One of them I see right here in front of me is mint. So you can tell most mint plants by their square stem. And that's really a feature of the plant family Lamaceae. But it's also a good sign that it's a mint. There's a lot of different kinds of mint. I don't know what kind this is. There's your spearmint, your chocolate mint, all sorts of stuff. But mint is great because it smells really good. It smells very minty. So you can kind of crush it up, and then you'll know if it's mint just by that smell. But you can also eat it. I like to eat it just a couple leaves at a time. It's kind of a breath freshener. But there's also a lot of really good recipes for mint out there. You can see we've got some lovely purple flowers here with some really nice foliage to fill it all out. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, and a nice floral scent too. This is some oregano, which has kind of a soft feel to it. You're going to start seeing grass with seed heads. If you have any spots in your yard that are unmowed, those are always fun. I just like to kind of walk and feel those on my hand as I walk down a grassy field. See, all the plants are getting so tall. Just last week I made a joke that this plant was almost as tall as me, and now it is actually taller than me. So it is really amazing just how fast all this stuff grows. And that's one thing that can be fun about taking regular walks in a certain area. Maybe that's your backyard, maybe that's your a local park, just around your neighborhood. It can be anywhere really. But just paying attention and thinking and focusing about things that you see and things that you notice. And it can really help you kind of connect to your place, wherever that may be. And in my case, I like to do that here on the urban farm because there's so much to look at. But you can really do it just about anywhere. Fun to make those observations about what's growing and how the weather is affecting things. Let's see, we've got some lovely little flowers here. And from a distance, they just look like little poof balls, but if you look really close, you can see they're actually tiny flowers. You can also see got a nice pollinator here. He's got a lot of pollen on him. Ooh, wow. Got some sunflowers here. And sunflowers I always found interesting because they have a really almost gritty texture to them. Kind of like sandpaper. Got some really big leaves here. Amazing how different plants can look different. Got leaves that can be, I mean, look how giant this one is. It's got to be 2 feet long, almost 1 foot wide, as opposed to some plants that have just the itty bittiest little parts. I do not know what this plant is, but it feels just wonderful. It is so soft and fuzzy. Fuzzy plants are some of my favorites. The yarrow is not the same kind of fuzzy, but the leaves are so small that it feels fuzzy anyway. You can see how they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. lots of colors on the farm now that all the flowers are starting to bloom. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And very soft petals. I don't know what this plant is, but it's really funny looking. It's got these kind of 5 or 6 lobed leaves here. They open up at the bottom, but they kind of overlap. And then just these central stalks that have the funniest looking little flower blossoms on there. I'm really curious what those will look like when they bloom. So maybe next week when I'm out here doing my weekly walk, I'll get to see those. See what they look like. Some clover, some red clover there. The bronze fiddle, always a funny plant. I like looking at how the new growth, the new little fronds like to grow out. They start kind of bent over. Oh, and here's a really good example of a really young one kind of poking out there. But really dense and packed in there, and then as they get bigger, they stay folded over, but eventually they'll just fern out into these awesome dill plants, and they're just so cool. So many tiny little leaves on there, and delicious. You can see here's some flowers that are getting ready to bloom. I'm not 100% sure about these, but if I had to guess, I would say echinacea. They've got kind of a, I don't even know how to describe the way that those little petals feel. Super bristly, almost. And another fuzzy plant over here with some funny looking new growth right there on the end. I'll be curious to see how those progress. Oh, you can see we've got a coneflower right there. Still pretty young and it hasn't fully popped yet, but there's definitely no doubt that's what that is. Still got lots of columbine, lots of sunflowers down here. Also interesting seeing how different plants of the same kind can get different. Like these sunflowers have almost this bubbly smoothness to the leaves, whereas these sunflowers do not have that. These ones are more smooth and flat. Or not smooth and flat, but rough and flat. The fig leaves I always thought were funny. I always thought they kind of felt like a fake plant leaf. They're so thick and waxy. And then of course it wouldn't be a sensory walk in late spring, early summer if we didn't try some strawberries, right? So it is getting to be peak strawberry time right now. And a little fun fact for you, in case you didn't know, you can actually eat the green part on the top of the strawberry. Perfectly edible. It's called the, well, when it's on the flower, it's called the sepal. But still edible. So tasty. This one's a little rotten. I'll set that one aside. Here's some fun ones. More frilly leaf plants. Just a fun one to run your fingers through. See, our bees are getting real happy. And I can hear them, I actually hear them as they buzz by my head. Which might be a little bit too close for comfort for some people, but I don't mind. I know they're just going about their beesness and not trying to bother me at all. Got some lovely pink and white blackberry blossoms. Some lovely pollinators going about their business on those as well. Over here we've got more strawberries and raspberries. And over here another type of mint. This one is lemon mint, lemon balm. Kind of depends on who you ask, I think. But super, super bright, citrusy, lemony taste and smell to those. Ooh, almost smells just like lemon juice. Let's see if we have any plums growing. Oh yeah, we got a few of them. Just a few though. So here's one example right here. American plum. You see that little hole right there. I mean, something crawled into it. So it's probably something snacking on that inside. So we can crack it open and take a look at what it looks like inside. There's also a lot of strawberries strewn about the ground over here by this tree. I wonder if something's been coming out here and snacking on them. Well, I think I may have a little trouble cracking this open without a knife or some other sort of tool, so we'll just save that for later. They're not ready to eat quite yet. This is a red mulberry, and the ones that are usually the ones that you eat, you want them to be super, super, super dark, almost black. But I kind of prefer it if they have a little bit of redness left. That way I think they're a little more tart instead of being overly sweet. But these are super tasty, and you can find mulberry trees all over town. So if you've never had a chance, I would highly recommend tracking down some mulberries around your house or your neighborhood and giving those a try. Oh, so sweet. You can't really find them in the stores, partly because they have such a short growing season. They're really hard to harvest, and they have a very short shelf life, which means from the point that you pick them off of the plant to the point where they're not really good to eat anymore, it's super fast, just because they're fragile. They're a very soft berry, and so they can't hold up to transportation or anything like that, which is a real bummer because they are so tasty. But also stain your hands, make a great finger paint. All right, we better walk away from this mulberry tree, or else I'm just going to get too distracted and not be able to finish the video. Let's see. There's none that are ripe right now. I think they all got munched on this morning. But we got some raspberries that are getting ready to be done. Getting ready to be ripe. There's one right here. Nice, delicious red raspberry. This is a great time of year for berries. You get strawberries, raspberries, mulberries. Before you know it, we're going to have blackberries, we're going to have blueberries, we're going to have elderberries, which is this plant right here. These are the elder flower buds. Once those bloom, there will be elder flowers. These right here are going to pop probably today. But the flowers are actually edible too. People make all sorts of different stuff with them. All right, let's go check out our pins down here. There's one of our workers, Tamara, getting ready to drop off some compost. What's the food scraps today, Tamara?
I've got sweet potatoes, ham stew,
Sounds like healthy foods. How's the chickens doing today? They're having fun on that log we put up for them. Must have found some bugs to eat down there. Chickens are great foragers. Really good at finding bugs, finding plants and seeds and little plant shoots to eat. All right, so for our last stop, we'll go. Oh, here's a fun one. Now I know it probably doesn't translate through the phone camera, but this is our thyme, and there are so many different pollinators on here, flies and tiny bees, and all sorts of other stuff that if you get close enough, you can just hear the buzzing. It's kind of cool to think about so many different insects all getting their food source from that one plant. All right, let's go try looking at a couple more things over in the outdoor classroom. There's all kinds of stuff here. Got our scallions over here, which are getting a little crazy, but that's all right. And these, if you've never had scallions, are super mild, oniony flavor. And you can find them in grocery stores. Super tasty, just diced up and used as a garnish. Our carrots are looking wonderful. And those are going to be ready to harvest soon. Then we'll plant some more carrots. Let's see. Got our tomatoes here. Which they're looking a little bit sad, but they'll perk up before too long. And look at the tail. I think a big part of gardening is clearly growing food, tasty food that you want to eat. But another big part is just making beautiful things. So that's why a lot of times when I plant and garden, I like to do fun stuff like our kale here, where we do alternating rows of green and red kale. I just like it when things have that sort of nice juxtaposition, that nice contrast from the green to the red. But that's about all for our sensory tour. I know it doesn't all translate very well over the phone, but thanks for joining us. And we will be back with you all again tomorrow morning for another Veg Out video. We'll see you then.